Hey up, it's that old Yorkshire geek here. I'm not doing a live show this time because I just can't be bothered. I couldn't be bothered setting it all up, so I'm just doing a quick recording, but it's doing it as live using the old Streamlabs. And this is because it's what day is it? It's Friday. It's Star Trek Strange New Worlds Day. This is the dreaded episode 5, Spock Amok. And yes, it's the worst episode so far this season, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It harkened back, to kind of goofy sci-fi of the 60s and 70s, body swaps, and 80s as well. We've had it in the 80s, with body swaps and stuff like that. And but we'll get into that. I'm getting caught. My trouser leg got caught under me wheel of my chair. By the way, apologies if there's any background noise. I've got the window open because it's a lovely day and there's people outside doing their gardening. Also, I've got the washing machine going in the next room. I've closed the door, but if you hear any noises, I don't think you will, because I think this microphone it's quite good at well, it's not good. It's it doesn't pick up far away things. I mean, I move away and then you can hardly hear me, but and then I come back and I'm all okay. But anyway, so let's crack on. As I usually say, where have I put the bloody thing? Where are you? Strange New Worlds, Spladush. There it is, and it starts as usual with the Star Trek logo. As I've said a million gazillion times, I think, and this episode kind of solidifies that in my brain. I'm probably wrong, but I think they're recanonising the original series, their own original series. I think that's what they're doing. I think they're leaving classic Trek behind and they're redoing it in their own image. Some people think that's bad. I don't particularly like it. I think it's not the way to go, but I think that's what they're doing. I watched Bird of Prey 5's review of this episode yesterday, and he's not happy. He's not happy with this episode. He gave it 0 out of 10. I won't go that far. I didn't hate it, and it's quite funny in places. It's more of a character piece than what we've seen. There's no action as such. But anyway, we'll get on with it. Right, so there we go. So anyway, as usual, there's a previously on. We find out that we don't find out. We remember that La'an and Number One, Una, are friends. They've been friends since La'an were a little girl when Una rescued her from the Gorn. Well, not literally from the Gorn, but she picked up the life raft ship thing, pod, that La'an was cast adrift in by the Gorn, and it were Una that rescued her, and that's why she joined Starfleet. And also, we're reminded about Spock and T'Pring, the gorgeous T'Pring. Although she could do to eat a few pies, I like a bit of meat on me women, but she's still gorgeous, astonishingly attractive. This is them on Vulcan. We saw them I think in the first episode, and this rubbed a lot of people up the wrong way, including myself. Supposedly they were betrothed at the age of 7, and you got the implication was in the original series that they didn't meet again until the second season opener, Amok time. But this episode heavily riffs on Amok time at the beginning, and we'll get to that. This is showing Ortegas, so you can just see her there. When they did the hazing of Cadet Uhura. Right, are we on? Are we going now? There's the Enterprise. Do like it, must admit. It's grown on me, although it is too dark. Right, we're on Vulcan, and this is the arena that we saw in Amok time, where Spock had to T'Pring forced him to fight Kirk, his best friend, and we had all the all that, and we get it again in this, and it made me raise a Vulcan eyebrow, but we'll get on with it. So it comes on, we see Spock, and he bangs the gong, and T'Pring says, basically, he's too human. She don't want to marry him because he's too human, and she initiates the Caliphate. I thought it was Kunut Caliphate. I don't know, but she just calls it Caliphate, and that's supposedly not been done since ages past or whatever. Or was that in just Star Trek 3 where the refusion? I don't know. Anyway, I can't remember. It's a long time since I've seen Amok Time. Anyway, so she says he's got to fight somebody, and she points, and I'm thinking, oh heck, are we going to see James T. Kirk, the younger James T. Kirk that we were promised for season 2? Have they done the tricked us, and we're going to see him early? But no. We see a human Spock. There he is. Ooh, I did that well, didn't I? So I'm just clicking on the video, hoping for the best. And there we are, human Spock, Ethan Peck. And he's got to fight himself. There she is, T'Pring. Ooh, by golly jeepers, she's lovely, isn't she? There she's pointing, fight him. It's strange though, isn't it, about Vulcans? They're being all logical, yet they go for all this ritual and all this fancy, ornate clothing and stuff. And even in, the movies, and we've seen in, Next Generation and Voyager and all that, and Enterprise, they try to say the logical, but they stick with these traditions, and you think, is that an emotional thing that that they adhere to these traditions from ages past? But never mind. It's just, one of those things about Vulcans. They're not perfect. They're not completely logical. We know that they have insane passions, and if they let the guard down, they become Romulans, basically. Anyway, so this fight kicks off. They get the Lurpers out. People pronounce them Lirpers in this, but I've always said Lurpers. So they do the fight. The music starts. We get the and I did laugh out loud, I must admit. And Spock strikes, kills the human Kirk, and Spock wakes up. It were all a dream. A bit like in the Orville. The first episode of the Orville, we had a dream sequence at the beginning of that, didn't we? But this is a dream. It's on the Enterprise. The Enterprise is on its way, or it's just arrived at Starbase 1. Which I thought were Jupiter Station. I think we saw it in the season opener. That's the starbase that's around Jupiter that's got the domes with the forests inside. That it's a bit stupid if you ask me. I mean, they are absolutely enormous, yet they were supposedly launched in the mid-21st century during the Third World War. I don't know. I don't understand that. But never mind. Right, so here we are. So he's checking his lugs. He's still got his pointy ears. Because, as we know, Spock is always he's always struggled with his human half, hasn't he? Even in the motion picture, they said V'Ger called out to his human half. It's his emotional side, and he's always struggled with it. And it's made him try harder to be a Vulcan. And Pike acknowledges that in this episode. He sticks up for Spock later on, but we'll get to that. Right, so Spock's getting ready there's some diplomatic stuff going on. There's this race. I can't remember what they're called, but they've got stripy faces. But T'Pring's visiting. Here she is in Spock's quarters. She says it's very human, and he says it's a work in progress. It's his quarters. And she's there. She's supposedly there on a mission from Vulcan. She's got to capture a Vulcan. I think it's supposed to be a little bit like Cyborg. He's Vulcan, but he seems to have embraced his emotions. He's not a Romulan, but she's got to... What's he called now? He's called Barjan. That's it, Barjan. So I do remember some things. She's there to capture him. She's got somebody there with her, and they've been assigned quarters. But she's here visiting Spock, and she says she's eschewing that mission to spend time with Spock because they got interrupted last time. But I think she suspects that his adherence to his duty is going to put the mockers on it, and it does. Anyway, so they have a chitty chat in Spock's quarters. And I must admit, this episode I have moaned. I said it during the Orville review. The Orville, I loved it. And it's great because, it's static cameras. It's not moving about all the time like we usually see in new Star Trek. It's, established 2 shots like we see there. Oops, sorry, I'm hitting the microphone. 2 shots and close-ups and establishing shots. And the camera's static for much of the time. Not always, but, we're focusing on the characters. We're not moving about and trying to be arty-farty with lens flares and stuff. And I must admit, this episode... It's more like that. It is more straightforward. But anyway, so there we go. There she is talking to Spock. So the promises they're going to spend time together. I've got to get past this bit because she's making me salivate. Anyway, so, right, we cut. Spock's got stuff to do. We cut to the conference room, I suppose it is. And we see, you can't actually see him there. I'll have to move this over. Where are you? There you are. I'll move this over. We actually see there, look, there's Pike. And he's in the green tunic that we saw James Kirk wearing in the original series. They're waiting for these. Admiral Admiral April, Robert April's there, and he's briefing them about these aliens that are coming. They want to join the Federation, but they're in negotiations. And previously, it were the Tellarites that did the negotiations, and all that went to pot. Which is, why would you send the Tellarites on a diplomatic mission? They're not really good at diplomacy, are they? But they did. And it went wrong. There we go, there's a shot of it. There's the Tellarite there. This is one of the new, I forgot what they call them. But they've got stripy faces. And you get the impression here that they're an aggressive species. But it turns out, spoilers, that they actually, the reacting kind... to what they encounter. So if there's an aggressive Tellarite, which Tellarites are aggressive, he doesn't look much like a Tellarite, him, does he? Where's his tusks and stuff, but never mind. Not that you can see much. When confronted by an aggressive Tellarite, they become aggressive. When confronted by, we'll see when Spock's talking to them, being logical, they're being calm and logical back. And with humans, they're more. So they're reacting kind, so... That's how it turns out. And they've got a ship with them, and it's a solar sailing ship. A bit like what we saw in Deep Space Nine, the one that Ben Sisko built. A little bit like that. Same colour, actually. Maybe it was going to be a Bajoran one, maybe, and decided not to because we don't know the Bajorans yet in this, but they still like the name, so they changed it to Barjan for the fella that T'Pring's supposed to be capturing. Barjan's not a very Vulcan name, is it? They usually begin with S, or they've got like apostrophes in somewhere, or if they're women, they're T something, but not always, but usually. Anyway, so there's Pike in his green tunic. It's got this shiny bit down the side. They've got to make things slightly different, haven't they? But it's a bit more, it's thicker cloth than what we saw Kirk wearing. But there we go. Here they go. They come in. La'an introduces them. She said they insisted on coming. They've come early. They insisted on starting the negotiations now, which puts the mockers on Spock's plans because he didn't. He was supposed to be spending time with T'Pring, wasn't he? But obviously he can't say, "I'm sorry, I've got med plans. I've got to go." He doesn't do that, and that doesn't sit well with T'Pring later on. Anyway, meanwhile, while they're at this, Starbase 1/Jupiter Station, a lot of the crew have been given shore leave. So Chapel and Ortegas, they're heading, to the station. She's going to meet up. She's got like, a friend with benefits, if you know what I mean. Can't remember his name. That she meets up with from time to time and all that. And so she's going to meet him. And we get the implication here is they've got to do it, haven't they, that she's bisexual. She's had another relationship with a woman, and that turned sour. So, of course, she's bisexual. You've got to have that, haven't you? Nothing against that, but they've got to shoehorn it in, haven't they? Anyway, I mean, if anybody's going to be bisexual, it's Ortegas, isn't it? I mean, I'm sorry for being stereotyping and all that, but look at her. She's a good actress, I must admit. I'm warming to her character. I didn't like her at first with her smirky mouth and stuff, but I'm actually warming to her a little bit. She's straightforward, and she says what she likes, and she likes what she bloody well says. So there you go. To quote Harry Enfield. Anyway, yes, they've got the. Oh, hang on, let's go back a bit. There we go. The Doctor. I've always called him Mabenga, but in this they keep calling him Mbenga. What is it? Is it Mabenga or Mbenga? I mean, Mbenga sounds silly to me. I mean, but never mind. I'm going to call him what I call him. I'm going to call him Mabenga. So there. Anyway, he's off fishing. He's going fishing. He's got his hat with his fishing lures stuck to it, and so that's why they're laughing, because he looks ridiculous. Don't know why he's still in his uniform, but never mind. You'd think, while he's got shore leave, you'd think he'd spend his time with his daughter, wouldn't you? Remember, his daughter's in basically transporter stasis, sort of. She's held in the buffer, isn't she, so she doesn't die. You'd think he'd spend some time with her, wouldn't you? But no, he's off fishing. So anyway, they go to the transporter room. For some reason, Una, number one, is seeing everybody off, and La'an's there as well, going through the checklist, making sure everybody sods off. We find out that Una has got a nickname. Mabenga lets it slip out. There we go. That Una's got a nickname, and the nickname is, I was expecting like a name, like not Funa, as in she's not fun, but or whatever. But no, a nickname is Where Fun Goes to Die, which is a bit stupid, but never mind. And she's not happy about that. So she says, "Energize," and they beam him away. Mr. Kyle, Transporter Chief Kyle, beams him away. It's super quick. He does it really quick. Didn't know you could do that. I thought you had to do it in a steady way, but never mind. He does it super quick, and the beam to the station. I mean, the Enterprise is docked. Why don't they just walk? Use the docking, tube. That way, save energy more than anything. But no, they beam him out because they needed a funny scene. So Spock has gone back to his quarters. She's waited for him and waited again. But his duties kept him away from her. She's not happy. She tells him she's giving up her duties to be with him. She'd expect him to do the same, and she buggers off. She leaves him. So there he is. Look, there's no excuses. But he felt, he had his duty. There's the food that they put on with some nice Vulcan cake. Didn't know Vulcans had sweet tooth, but never mind. And some fruit, and I don't know what that is. the Vulcans drink alcohol? I don't think they do they? So it's obviously probably some sort of Vulcan tea. Iced tea or cold tea, whatever, Not PG tips. Anyway, there we go. There's the opening credits. What the hell, what we're in? We're 15 minutes in and we just get the opening credits now. Crikey Moses. There we go. Right, so what happens next? Right, we're in a bar area on Starbase 1. By the way, they do mention earlier on Starbase 1, it got heavily damaged during Star Trek Discovery, during the Klingon War. And I've not checked, I'll have to look back, but I don't remember it looking a lot like this Starbase 1. I don't remember seeing the forest domes in the Star Trek Discovery Starbase 1. But as I said, I haven't looked back, so I could be wrong on that. Anyway, so they're in this bar, right? So Christine is with this Starfleet officer, a friend with benefits, and she does look jolly attractive in this, I must admit. I'm always saying that I can't help myself. If I see an attractive lady, I've got to say she looks attractive, and she does. But trying to get a shot of her. Never mind him. He's waffling. We haven't seen it. Look. There we go. So she looks very. She's scrubbed up nice. I've noticed on her arms. We see later on she's got these marks on her arms, like as though she's got something. Maybe it's the actress. I don't know. I don't know if the scars or if she's got some condition that causes these marks on her arms. I don't know, but it don't hide the fact that she's super pretty. Who's this? I think this is La'an and Number One. There they are. They're staying on board. Everybody else gets shore leave, but they stay on board. Well, not everybody, but most people are on shore leave. But they're doing they're using this time to catch up on work. But then they decide not to. They learn that some of the crew play what's called Enterprise Bingo, and they catch a couple here. They get a security alert that there's an unauthorised person in the airlock. In this part here, they're talking about that where fun goes to die, and they don't understand because they believe they're fun, but they're just duty bound, aren't they? They like their duties, they like their jobs. Then we're back with Christine. There we go. You see these marks here on her arms. I don't know what it is. I don't know if the scars or if it's some condition she's got. I don't know, but never mind. She's proper pretty. Oh, I hear she's talking to Spock, and this were funny. This were funny. Spock's gone there. Obviously, he's drowning his sorrows, but he's not because he doesn't drink, but he's just there. I don't know why. But she sees him, and he tells her about, what's happened with T'Pring, and she gives him a slap on the side of the head, which were funny. I can't see Majel Barrett's nurse Chapel doing that to Spock, but she does. See if we catch her doing it. Come on, do it. Crack him. I probably missed it because you know what I'm like. You know what I'm like. Never mind. Whatever. Oh, is this it? Oh, she's just done it. No, she's just done it. Right, so, right, we'll go back a bit. He's telling her what happened with T'Pring. Clout. Gives him a clout. Clip round the ear. And it was quite funny. She tells him basically, he's got to go and make it up with her. So he does. He goes back, and they decide to do this kind of a mind meld where they go into each other's minds just for a brief time, so that they can understand, the other's thoughts and the other's motivations, why they do things the way they do, and it should help them understand each other better. Because remember, they are betrothed, they are going to get married. Oh, you can't see them there, can you? But we've got T'Pring on the left and we've got Spock on the right. So they do this, but it goes wrong. Remember earlier on I talked about a body swap episode. Well, in this, obviously during the meld, they swap bodies or swap minds, and it's only supposed to be, temporarily for a few seconds or a few minutes or whatever. But something goes wrong, and they end up the body swapped. So we've got Spock's mind in T'Pring, and T'Pring's mind in Spock. They're doing all this. There we go. Anyway, they realise what's happened, but then Pike comes in. Oh, for crying out loud! Maybe it's not this part. Maybe I've gone a bit too far. Yeah, I think I have. Pike comes in. There we go. There's Archer. I keep calling him Archer. Robert April. The stripy-faced aliens have. They want to start these talks again, but they'll only talk to Spock for some reason. I don't know why. They like him, I suppose. Oh, there's Pike's open fire. In his massive quarters. Why has he got an open fire? Anyway, they've realised, what's happened here, and they don't know how to. They try to, reverse it, but nothing's happening. Then Pike comes in. Just walk in to let him in, obviously, and they're forced to tell him what's happened. They don't try and bluff the way around it. They do at first, but they do say, we've done this and it's gone wrong, and Pike actually laughs a bit about it. Hey, what? So it's quite amusing. But then they decide that to get this negotiation, this diplomacy thing, working properly, that T'Pring's got to go pretend to be Spock. And Spock in T'Pring decides to go and find this Barjan fella. So that's what they do. I've missed that bit, haven't I? See, I've gone past that bit. Earlier on, number one and they got a security alert. Remember I said there was somebody in the airlock, and they go to this airlock, phasers drawn, and they open it, and there's two crew members, two junior crew members in there, in spacesuits, and they were going to go out onto the hull, and they've got a tradition, a part of Enterprise Bingo. One of the things to do, one of the tasks, is to go out on the hull, and you've got to sign, I forgot, they call it the Scorch or whatever. There's a plate, part of the Enterprise hull plating that's the oldest part that's never been replaced. I mean, it sounds a bit ludicrous to me, but never mind. That you have to go out and sign it, and that's part of Enterprise Bingo. That's what they're going to do, but and anyway, this is where they're interrogating them, asking what they were doing, why they were in the airlock. I think, is she a Bolian? She looks like a Bolian, doesn't she? Una's been nice, and La'an's been bad cop. This is where they learn about Enterprise Bingo. So anyway, they punish these two. They say, shore leave's cancelled, and you have to go report to Mr. Kyle, and he'll have you cleaning the transporter pads. So that's what they've done. So then these two decide to do the Enterprise Bingo. They get a list on the pad of what they've got to do. So they start doing that, and it's all jolly fun. Hey, right, so anyway, T'Pring, remember it's Spock in there, in this lovely head. She gets a call from her aide, who says something about this Barjan fella. He's prepared to come in, but he'll only deal with T'Pring, he won't talk to her. She's got funny ears, hasn't she? They don't look very Vulcan, them ears, do they? But whatever. Oh, she's talking again. So T'Pring, Spock / T'Pring has got to go and bring in Barjan. Anyway, these two are going over this Enterprise Bingo list. The list of things that they've to do. Let's see if I can pause it on the... I bet I can't. On the actual list. I'm whistling when I talk. Put me John Mills' teeth in. I'm not going to find it, am I? Go on, show us it. See if we can zoom in a bit or whatever. There we go. Can we see that? Right. Sorry. Microphone. Right, what does that say? Use transporter to re-flavour gum. Oh, yeah, we see that one. Phaser stun thing. What does that say? I can't see what that says. Phaser stun something. Turbo lift 2-floor shout challenge. Oh, that's... yeah, we see that as well. They go pull the handle and shout where they're going, and whichever one the computer recognises, that's the winner. Set the universal translator to Andorian. We don't see that one. Gravity boot hang challenge. We don't see that one. Well, I don't think we do. Medical tricorder challenge. Vulcan. What does that say? I can't see what that says. I don't know. Don't know what that says. Food replicator challenge. Something fruit. Duran fruit. Maybe durian fruit. Sneak a tribble into the transporter buffer. Sit in the captain's chair. EV suit challenge. Unsanctioned spacewalk. And sign the scorch. So I suppose that them two could be... you could do both of them at the same time, couldn't you? The EV suit thing. But they don't, because they don't go in an EV suit. They use force fields, which is bonkers, but never mind. So there we go. So that's the Enterprise bingo for you. Complete 10 items from the list below. Don't get caught. They're the rules. And apparently it's just the junior officers, ensigns and below. So ensigns and non-commissioned officers that do this. So they decide to do it. And we see some of the stuff they do. They stun each other. They do the turbo lift thing. They use the transporter to re-flavour gum. They do that, but they're using the transporter in sick bay. And I'm thinking, I know Una knows about M'Benga's daughter in there, but you'd think... So I presume she's been careful not to muck that up. But anyway, so they decide to do it. So that's where she's doing the gum. It re-flavours the gum. That's the elevator one, turbo lift. She gets shot, so that's the stun thing. Lois setting. I think who's this one? What's happening here? Is it M'Benga fishing or is it something else? No, it's them two, look. I can't remember what's happened here, but never mind. Oh, yes, they're talking, and T'Pring comes, that's it. And obviously they don't know it's Spock. And they see T'Pring come in, and they're thinking, oh, crikey, they're in trouble. Because, obviously, Nurse Chapel spoke to Spock, and then, so they think something's happened. But T'Pring Spock just tells her what's happened, and she believes her. So she says, crikey, didn't think you'd take my advice so literally. So anyway, he's asking for her help. So she does help, and they go and find Barjan in a bit. Meanwhile, these are still doing their challenges. Right, the talks are underway. Pike and April are sitting some distance away while Spock's doing the... but it's not Spock, it's T'Pring, isn't it? Doing the diplomacy. Uhura looks on. And Spock is saying some things that are not very Spock-like, because obviously it's T'Pring, and he's talking about how he doesn't really trust the Federation and all that, and he don't, humans, not to be not the best, and all that, and Pike he's always struggled with humanity and all that. And anyway, Pike steps in and sticks up for Spock And basically, he knows he's talking to T'Pring, and he realizes that T'Pring is saying her feelings about Spock, that Spock's too human, his human half controls him somehow. But Pike says Spock is, the most Vulcan person he's ever met, and is really good, and he is, the epitome of Vulcan, and is a fine Federation officer, blah, 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 blah. And this sways them somewhat. He's sticking up for his first officer, not his first officer, his science officer. And basically, they go, they think, right, we'll go away and think about it. So they return to the ship, and Pike had also said to him, why would you join the Federation? Because they're worried about their culture becoming homogenized, in the Federation, them losing some of their cultural identity. And T'Pring had said that as Spock, that she feared that Vulcan would also lose some of its Vulcanness, being... because they were kind of isolationist a little bit on the early days, like in Enterprise. They didn't really go exploring, and any races they did come across, they were wary about, and they were openly, in conflict with the Andorians, and they tried to mould humanity into like another Vulcan, but that didn't happen, did it? That didn't work out that way. But anyway, Pike steps in, and he says to these aliens, why should you join the Federation? We'll just, you might lose some of your cultural identity, but you'll gain a lot more. We'll be there if you need help. You'll get scientific help and all that, and blah 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 blah, and that swings it for them. So anyway, they go away. We see M'Benga fishing. I don't know why we're seeing fishing. I can't really remember, because it cuts away to some other people doing relaxing things. This is that barjam fella. Let's say it's obviously he's a Vulcan. I don't know if he's a full Vulcan. I don't know, but he seems to have he's playing 3D chess. I don't really know. Anyway, he disses Spock. Obviously, he thinks he's talking to T'Pring, and he disses Spock. He's basically calling him a half-breed and all that. He doesn't say that, but that's what he's going on about. So he decides he's not going to go in with he's not going to give himself up. So see if I can catch it, but I can't. There we go. So T'Pring smacks him, or Spock smacks him with the left hook. If I can, you can get it. There we go. Splodosh, knocks him out, which were quite amusing, I suppose. But they've got him anyway, so they can take him in. Right, back on the ship. They've all gone back to the ship. They must all be back on duty now. They're putting some of this goo on the foreheads, and they're going to use these crystals. It doesn't seem very scientific to me. They do explain it, but it doesn't seem very Star Trek science to me. But they put this goo on these crystals, and it's supposed to basically shock them back to normal, make their minds go back to where they belong. Anyway, it works. They all go, ah, and they're all back to normal. And we have a little touching scene between Chapel and Spock. Obviously, Spock doesn't. You can see that she's kind of, she's interested in him, but obviously he doesn't. He doesn't have the same feelings for her. There we go. Look. Anyway, Spock goes back to his quarters with T'Pring, and they decide they're going to get down to it. She wants to stay with Spock. He wants to, stay with her, in a relationship. All that changes later, doesn't it? But they're There we go. They're snogging and they do more. Well, not that we see, but anyway, right. So we're back at this conference room on the on Starbase One. There's the Enterprise, and there's the stripy alien face ship, solar sailor ship there. All right, and we've been told earlier that people that they become allies with, they unfurl their solar sail and show the flag of their ally. And that's what happens here. That's how we know that they've agreed to join the Federation. In a minute. This is Pike saying just, that he'd sussed them out. He knew what they were all about. So that's why he acted like he did. There we go, there's the solar sail unfurling, and there's the, can you see it? There it is, yeah, there's the flag of the Federation. Charming. And it's very similar to the solar sail that we saw in Deep Space Nine. Right, this is Una and Laan, and they've gone out to sign the Scorch, but they haven't put suits on. She's just put a force field round them. I thought, why would you take that chance? Because even Laan says, are you sure the force field's going to hold? And she says yes. But I wouldn't have to put a suit on, err on the side of caution, for Christ's sake. I mean, anything could happen, couldn't it? But anyway, so they go out and they sign the Scorch. There we are. I think that's them signing it. There we go. And then the solar sailing ship flies over, and they're all, ooh, ah, for some reason. I don't know why. They seem amazed by this solar sailor flying over. I mean, yeah, it's pretty, I suppose, but, so what? I suppose they've never seen a ship that close, I suppose, fly over from the outside. I suppose that's what it is. Anyway, there, speaking of ships that pass in the night, which they're not, I know, but they've done it. So they're all happy and lovely, but obviously that's not gonna last, is it? Because she wants to marry Ston later on, only if we get to meet him. Then we find out that Nurse Chapel, she stopped being friends with benefits chap, and because she told me we were boring. I thought, well, that's not very nice, is it? You don't say that, do you? Even if and she didn't. I don't think she hated him, because she, But she told him we were boring, so I ended the relationship. And I thought, crikey. And Ortega said, oh, well, at least you were honest. I thought, yeah, but let him down gently, love. But she didn't. So obviously sorry, getting a drink. So we. I think it's where we get the first inkling that she's in love with Spock. But obviously he's not in love with her. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So there you go. So, like I say, it wasn't as bad as I expected it to be. I mean, I thought it was going to be absolutely terrible, but it wasn't. It wasn't terrible, and it was quite amusing in places. They said it was a comedy episode, but it wasn't. It wasn't that funny. It had some amusing bits in it, but it wasn't a comedy episode. It was a light-hearted episode. It's not, it's the worst so far. I'd give it a 5 out of 10. Since I've started doing scores out of 10, even though I originally said I was never going to do that, whatever. So I'll give this one a 5 out of 10. It's average. It's average. I mean, it helps that they've got good characters, and that Pike is so, charming. He helps. He's holding the show together. And Ethan Peck is doing okay as Spock. I'm not. I know T'Pring, she's very lovely, but I don't like the character, and I don't like the way she talks. But anyway, so it's another, it's not a hated episode, although some people did. Bird of Prey 5 hated it. But I didn't hate it. It was okay. It was not brilliant. So we'll leave it there. I don't know what next week's episode's called. I think I saw a clip, and we've got somebody coming on the Enterprise, like a family. I don't know who they are. I'm sure they've got some secret, but we'll see. So we'll leave it there. So Spock Amok, not as bad as I thought it would be. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't brilliant. It was what it was. So wherever you are in the universe, look after each other. And until next time, I'll see thee.